This recipe for Swiss chard and corn flatbread is from an amazing blog called smittenkitchen.com. I'm not making it exactly. Unfortunately, it usually includes leeks, which are my absolute favorite, but I don't have those today, so I'm substituting an onion. So I'm starting with 2 tablespoons of butter in a pan, and I have 1 small sweet onion that I've sliced up. And I have 1 bunch of Swiss chard, and this uses just the leaves, not the thicker stem part. So you remove that. So I'm going to let these onions soften up, and I'm just going to season them with, I'll start with 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to help this along with a teaspoon of sugar. I'm using some pre-made flatbread. This is naan from Trader Joe's. And I wanted to just show you how I cut the fresh corn off the cob. And this time of year, it's so sweet. Actually, the other 2 that I just cut off, I ate the rest of the corn that was on there raw. Just taste it, and it's like sugar. The longer corn sits in your fridge, the sugars will turn to starch. So when you buy it, you want to try to use it right away. So after you take your corn husk off and then the corn silk, I usually only do half of the kernels at a time. It's just a little more awkward to start up here. And it's a fine line between not going further enough and leaving too much on the cob there, and then going too close, and then you have this like rough, almost popcorny type of thing. You don't want that to happen. You want a nice, big, sharp knife for this. I got that off to the side. So I used 3 of corn. So my onions are getting nice and brown. So what I did with the chard was I just removed the stem. And if you wanted to use this, you could in with the onions, but they would need a little more time. And then I just piled up the leaves on top of themselves and just sliced them into ribbons. So these naan bread come frozen, so I'm just letting these thaw out. And I just have a little bit of cooking spray underneath there. I'm gonna get my chard in next. All right, the Swiss chard has wilted down. It looks great. I tasted it, good seasoning. And now I'm gonna add my corn. And I'm only gonna give this a couple minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes tops. Because this is gonna cook in the oven. And it's really sweet already. This has a great flavor, so sweet and buttery. And now I'm gonna top it with the feta. Now I have my oven preheated to 350, and I'm just gonna bake this until I see that the cheese melts. Everything I have here is cooked. I just wanna crisp this up a little bit and melt that cheese. I'm gonna give it about 10-15 minutes.
Mom, what you making?
This is out of the oven and it smells fantastic. The feta is not gonna melt down as much as a goat cheese would or another kind of melting cheese, but it did get a little bit brown, and the flatbread crisped up a little bit. The key to this amazing flavor is the sweet onions. This is a fantastic combination of everything that's great and perfectly in season at the farmer's market. Another fantastic idea from the Smitten Kitchen.